The African Nationalist Pioneer Movement, an appeal to reason. This group was started by the Honorable Carlos A. Cook, a student of Marcus Garvey. The time has come for the people of Harlem to stop and take inventory of their social, economic, and political status as compared to other racial and national entities living within the city of New York. The African Nationalist Pioneer Movement has made a complete survey of all the homogeneous communities in New York City. Our findings show that in the Chinese community, the life of the community is controlled by the resident majority, Chinese. In the Italian community, the same pattern follows. In the Jewish community, all of the businesses are controlled by the Jews. In the Puerto Rican settlement, the major part of the business are controlled by Latinos. However, when we come to the black belts, whether in Harlem, Brooklyn, or the Bronx, we find these conditions are prevalent. An overwhelming percentage of alien merchants, absentee landlords, and a vast concentration of police power. Dramatic manifestations of moral decay, perversions are evident on every street corner, to wit dope addicts and winos in every section of the community. The sidewalks and the streets of the community are congested with vagabonds holding forth dice games on the streets, prostitutes and freaks roaming the avenues, openly plying their sordid trade. The African Nationalist Pioneer Movement contend that all of the above listed vices exist in our community are an outgrowth of lack of economic understanding. Namely, where there are other racial and nationality groups realize that the basic action governing their welfare and survival is economic cooperation among and within their respective group. The blacks so far have resisted all efforts to do likewise. The African Nationalist Pioneer Movement strongly recommends to the residents of the community of Harlem to patronize your own people business enterprises. Make it possible that the money comes to the community, stays, and circulate within the orbits of its residents. Buy black, support your race, create a future for your children, build a decent, moral, and prosperous community. The African Nationalist Pioneer Movement. The Code Afric. As a member of the African Nationalist Pioneer Movement, to devoutly live my life in such a manner that as the best interest of my race will be served. I further pledge that I shall do everything in my power to bring about the liberation of Africa from the tentacles of European colonialism. I do now declare that my philosophical outlook on life shall be that of admiration and fondness for people and things that is of my race and heritage. If indeed there is any physical beauty in the world, then as far as I'm concerned, it incarnate in the physical likeness of my own people. My primary goal shall be to bring about nationalist unity and understanding within the community of my race to the extent that they will be able to implement a policy of self-determination. Domestically, I shall always respect the whys or amores of my co-nationalists and behave toward them with honor and respect. I shall always practice charity and benevolence to members of my race, and shall be especially helpful to members of my organization whenever they need my assistance. When Africa strikes physically for freedom, I shall volunteer as a soldier, fighting my people's battles. All these things I pledge as a man and a black nationalist, and I shall fail to honor this pledge to which I have fixed my zeal. Then may the honorable man scorn me, and my children stone me. And may my name be listed among the infamous names of traitors, so that generations to come will look upon my progeny with hostility and scorn. What is the African Nationalist Pioneer Movement? The African Nationalist Pioneer Movement is an educational, inspirational, instructive, constructive, and expansive society. It's composed of people's desires of bringing about an establishment of progressive, dignified cultural, paternal, and racial confraternity amongst the African people of the world. The members pledge themselves to devote their knowledge, physical energy, private fortunes, and sacred honor to eliminate the tragedy, equalities, and medieval backwardness that the universal status of the race reflects. We hold these conditions to be a challenge to our manhood and an insult to the aristocracy of our noble race. Where every sovereign state in Europe is ruled and controlled by Europeans, the landmass of Asia is governed by Asiatics, Arabs, dominate Arabia. Jewish aspirations have been satisfied by the creation of the state of Israel. Africa is the only continent that is completely dominated by a tyrant alien yoke of European plunderers with the approval of the so-called United Nations and the active support of the Christian churches of all denominations. Certainly, no black man with the blood of Africans coursing through his veins can live in good conscience, except in these conditions that a power-drunk white world has conspired to perpetuate on an unoffending people. The African Nationalist Movement realized that the world is organized in homogeneous segments. And in light of the existing circumstances, the ANPM advocates, as a matter of self-defense and survival, a racial harmony of African at home and abroad that will resurrect the nobility, the courage, and the resourcefulness that once exemplified African character, rejecting all deals of racial improvement that did not emanate from within the group, denying all standards of beauty that does not represent the vibrant characteristics of African race, heeding no voice but our own on the issue of race policy, denouncing all religions that perpetuate the myth of white supremacy and the fallacy of divine adjunction. We believe in the principles of self-determination for all races and submit that black people of Harlem and all other homogeneous African communities had the same moral and natural right to be clannish in their patronage as people have dramatized that they are. We advocate, as a matter of a sound racial economy, that Buy Black campaign, patronize your own race, build a sovereign foundation for your children, help create employment and independence for your race. Carlos Cook. That was a reading from the African Nationalist Pioneer Movement, founded by Carlos A. Cook, a Garveyite student. And we must believe in the principles of self-determination and buying black and patronizing your own race and building a sovereign foundation for your children. We got to believe in that, and that struggle still goes on today. It shouldn't be a struggle because we should be liberated from all this. So keep on fighting. I love bringing groups like this to y'all, displaying the history, about the natural moral right. And remember, it's an honor and a dignity, a natural and a moral right for us to be African with the noble blood through our veins. Much love, and subscribe to the channel. Peace.